Hello again, and welcome to another episode of Be Aware, Not Afraid. My name is Danae, and I'm an education specialist here at the Detroit Zoological Society, where we are celebrating and saving wildlife every day. In the last episode, we kicked off the series with snakes. We learned about what they eat, different habitats they live in, and how the Detroit Zoo is aiding in the conservation of Michigan's only venomous snake, the eastern Mississauga rattlesnake. Today, we're going to be talking about a slightly smaller animal with scaleless skin, can lay eggs, and likes to spend time in the water. Are you ready for a new awareness adventure? Great. Let's go see what animal gives our viewers the heebie-jeebies.
Did you figure out which animal we'll be featuring today? If you were thinking frogs, well, great minds think alike. Most frogs lay their eggs underwater to keep them from drying out before they hatch. Once they turn into adults, they can either hang out on land or in water when needed. Now, I do want to remind my viewers who are scared of frogs that it's okay to be afraid. This video is to be used to get a better understanding of the animal and why we need them. But I do want to give you a heads up. There are frogs of all colors and sizes that will be featured in this video, but will not be handled or harmed. Let's start with the frog life cycle. There are 4 stages, starting with the egg. The egg develops into a tadpole with a tail, mouth, and gills that eventually develop into lungs at a later stage. Having a tail helps the tadpole stay out of predators' reach and to find food. The tadpole then undergoes metamorphosis, or in other words, they transform. They gain their hind legs first and then their front legs. And the last part of metamorphosis is the froglet stage, when they absorb their tail. During this stage, they are also getting bigger, reaching the final step and becoming an adult frog. The adult is then free to move between land and water. In the tadpole stage, they tend to eat plant matter, small aquatic invertebrates like plankton, or even other tadpoles. Once they reach the adult stage, they are no longer omnivores, which means they eat plants and meat. Instead, they turn into carnivores where they only eat meat. Now, depending on the adult frog's size, smaller frogs may eat just insects, while larger frogs can eat insects, snakes, other small frogs, or even birds. Speaking of birds, one of the largest frog species is called a mountain chicken, weighing about 2 pounds. But the largest frog in the world is called a Goliath frog, weighing up to 7 pounds. If you've seen a frog out in the wild, at the Belle Isle Nature Center, or here at the Detroit Zoo, you may have noticed that their skin looks moist. Frogs have a unique skin that protects them the way ours protects us, but it also helps them breathe. Due to this characteristic, their skin is highly sensitive. Foreign or toxic substances that leak into their environment can eventually seep into their skin, causing them to fall ill. In this case, it is not recommended for humans to handle frogs. We may have dirt or oil or even lotion left over, and that can be absorbed into their skin. Oh, that actually reminds me, I should probably wash my hands. I'll be right back. Another cool thing about frog skin, in poison dart frogs and small mantellas, their skin is brightly colored to serve as a warning to predators that they are toxic. Other frogs may produce a foul-tasting secretion to avoid being swallowed by a predator, like, for example, a large great blue heron. When it comes to hiding from predators, many frogs use their surroundings and the coloration of their skin to camouflage.
I hope you're enjoying today's lesson on frogs, because now it's time for an activity. I'm going to share a quick clip for an activity that helps build observation skills, and it's going to teach you how to differentiate between some of Michigan's frogs and toads.
A couple of skills that you all will be doing is making observations, and once you go out to begin your Frog Watch USA survey, you'll be recording data. Some of the items that you'll need for this activity is a large rubber band, marbles or pebbles, and make sure that your pebbles are clean, so wash them before you use them, a small tooth comb, a few quarters, and a ruler. Alright, so let's get started. So there are about 13 native Michigan frogs and toads here in our area, and about 11 of them are frogs, while 2 of them are toads. But they all have their own unique call. So sometimes those calls are used to find a mate or a partner, and sometimes you might hear males rivaling for their own territory. If you were to go out and do your Frog Watch survey, some calls are probably going to be the males calling. So let's start with our green frog. This green frog has a very distinct call. It can be found in deep permanent bodies of water like ponds, swamps, lakes, and even slow streams. They can be green like this color here and have a few dark spots on their back and dark stripes that run across their back legs. Some of the males have a yellowish belly while the females have a white belly. So this frog can actually get to about 4 to 4.5 inches long. So we're going to take a few of those quarters that I mentioned and we're going to use a ruler to try and measure out 4.5 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't think we've reached 4.5 yet, so I'm going to add one more quarter. So that's almost about $1.25 if you want to add. So that 4.5 mark is right here. All right, let's listen to a green frog call. Okay, and now we're going to try and mimic that with some of the items that we have. So I said that you can use a large rubber band, and you're totally fine with doing it in between your hands like so, or you can get really creative and use a cardboard box and a few staples. Make sure to have an adult help you to do this, okay? And all you have to do is kind of strum it like a guitar. And there you have it, your own green frog. Next is Blanchard's cricket frog. So this frog likes to live on the edge of ponds and bogs and even some lakes. This frog can appear brown or tan or even olive green, kind of like the one that you see here in this color, or here in this picture. This frog also has some stripes on its legs, and you might be able to find a triangular shape right in between its eyes, kind of right here. This frog can get up to about 1.5 inches as an adult. So let's try and measure that out. 1 and 2. Okay, so it looks like that 1.5 mark is right here. So it's about 2 quarter lengths long, okay? And now we are going to listen to our Blanchard cricket frog. Now it's time to mimic that call. So you're going to take those marbles that you have, or any pebbles, and all you have to do is take one in each hand and just tap them together like so. Alright. Now last but not least is our boreal chorus frog. So this frog you might not find here in our area, but you might find it up in Isle Royal. That's up towards Lake Superior or in our upper peninsula. So this frog is about 1.5 inches long, but you can find them to be this color here, which is about brown or tannish gray, and they have a few stripes that run from the tip of their nose down to their bottom. They too have stripes that run across their legs. So let's see how long that 1.5 inches is. Oh wait, we already have it. So they're about the same size as the frog we mentioned before, the Blanchard's cricket frog. And now, let's listen to that frog call. Alright, so that sounds pretty neat. And I think it's going to be really easy to mimic this one. So all you need is that small tooth comb and one of those quarters that I talked about. And all you have to do is run it across the teeth just like this.
Now that you've seen a few ways to make your own frog sounds at home, you can take what you've learned and use it to help monitor Michigan's frogs and toads by participating in the Frog Watch USA Citizen Science Project. You can find more information by visiting aza.org/frogwatch, And for my younger viewers, make sure you ask an adult to help you. Okay, are we ready to visit the National Amphibian Conservation Center here at the Detroit Zoo? All right, let's hop on over. Woo, what an exercise. We made it, and here you'll find a vast diversity of frogs, toads, salamanders, newts, and Sicilians. The Detroit Zoo has made many efforts in the conservation of a number of frog species around the world. Let's take a quick look at one of them.
The Panamanian golden frog is a species of amphibian from the central highlands of Panama. In recent years, this amphibian has undergone dramatic declines. There are several reasons for the decline of this amphibian, some of which include a parasitic fungus known as chytrid, over-sedimentations of rivers and stream beds where this amphibian breeds, and also over-collection for the exotic pet trade. In the year 2000, the National Amphibian Conservation Center opened at the Detroit Zoo. This was the first major facility dedicated to exhibiting and conserving amphibians that are endangered throughout the world. Since this conservation center opened, the Panamanian golden frog has been housed there in biosecure rooms. We are breeding this amphibian with the hope of eventually reintroducing it into the wild. In the summer of 2015, I traveled to El Valle, Panama, a town nestled in the crater of an extinct volcano and the former home of this now thought to be extinct amphibian. While in Panama, I worked closely with staff at the El Valle Amphibian Conservation Center, redesigning and constructing new habitats in preparation for an event known as Golden Frog Day. This event, which is thrown throughout the country, helps raise awareness to the plight of this endangered amphibian. Amphibians are currently the most threatened species of animals in the world, with about 40% of all species at risk. It is important to conserve these amphibians due to their vital role in ecosystems around the world. It is our hope that someday there will be a safe place in Panama for the golden frogs at the Detroit Zoo, and that this species will not disappear from the planet for good.
As mentioned in the clip, frogs play a very important role in the environment. Because their skin is so sensitive and most of the time they rely on water, scientists can detect a change in water quality from noticing a decline in frog or toad populations. Now, this is where you come in. If you remember, earlier in the video, I mentioned a program called Frog Watch USA. The Detroit Zoo holds classes on how to participate and everything you'll need to know to become a volunteer. Usually, classes are held in late winter and early spring, right before breeding season, and that's when you are most likely to hear them. So make sure to keep an eye out for more information on the Detroit Zoo's webpage. So we've made it through another episode of Be Aware, Not Afraid. I'm so glad you all could join me in learning about frogs, even if they do look slimy. Remember, frogs are important in the Earth's ecosystem. It is best to not handle frogs or toads due to their highly sensitive skin that is also absorbent. Also, the next time you visit the frogs and toads here at the Detroit Zoo, try taking a look at the provided picture next to the exhibit to get a sense of their coloration and how they may be blending into their surroundings. See you next time for another dose of virtual vitamin Z, and make sure to check out more virtual educational lessons on the Detroit Zoo's webpage under the Education tab. See ya!